Picture this, you're midair, flying into Nepal, window seat ready for that perfect Himalayan selfie, when suddenly the captain's voice cuts in, "Ladies and gentlemen, we're not landing in Kathmandu today. Buckle up, we're heading to India." Sounds like a Netflix drama, right? Nope, that's Nepal right now. A country where Gen Z protesters, armed with anime flags, smartphones, and endless energy, have taken to the streets, disrupting daily life, grounding planes, forcing curfews, and shaking the economy to its core. This isn't just about politics. It's about an entire generation fighting corruption while tourists get stranded and a $2 billion tourism industry crumbles. So tonight, we're strapping in for a journey through Nepal's unsettled skies, where youth rebellion, grounded planes, and global travelers collide. Buckle up, because this is turbulence like you've never seen before. 4 international flights to Kathmandu forced to reroute to Lucknow, India. Tourists expecting Everest views got runway drama instead. Why? Protesters flooding Kathmandu streets near key infrastructure. Too risky to land. Imagine you paid $1,000 for a Himalayan adventure and ended up in a Lucknow airport lounge with no Momo in sight. Many flights were disrupted at the same time youth protests surged. Clashes with police, roads blocked, chaos spilling to the airport zone. Confused travelers tweeting, "We were 15 minutes from landing," then boom, rerouted. Every diversion equals lost arrivals, lost hotel bookings, lost dollars. Nepal's aviation and hospitality industries are bleeding. Even airplanes are swiping left on Kathmandu right now. If planes can't land safely, how safe do you think it is for people already on the ground? That's where the dreaded C word comes in, curfew. Kathmandu and other protest-heavy regions plunged into enforced curfews, streets empty, businesses shuttered, locals trapped inside. This generation doesn't just stay indoors, they defy curfews, organize flash protests, live-stream chaos, and outmaneuver police. Backpackers in Tamil, stuck in hostels, wondering if their trek to Everest Base Camp is now just a Netflix binge indoors. Each curfew day equals millions lost, restaurants, bars, taxis, all frozen. Nepal's service economy is paralyzed. In Nepal right now, nightlife ends when the government says so, not when the bar runs out of beer. But if being locked inside wasn't bad enough, imagine being locked offline. Welcome to the blackout. Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, poof, gone. Nepal pulled the plug during peak protests. Instead of silencing them, the blackout gave youth a new symbol of rebellion. They marched with the one-piece straw hat flag, memes in the streets instead of online. Travelers couldn't message family, book trips, or post those Namaste Nepal selfies. Some called it scarier than the curfew. Tour operators rely on online booking systems, social media ads, WhatsApp for clients. Bans equals choked communication, canceled trips, and vanishing revenue. Take away Gen Z's Wi-Fi, and you don't stop the protest. You just upgrade it to HD. But why all this drama? To understand today's unrest, we need to rewind and see what pushed Nepal's youth to this breaking point. Corruption scandals, unemployment, and a frustrated youth population.
This is a digital-first generation that's globally connected. They see transparency elsewhere, demand it at home, and aren't afraid to flood the streets. Visitors stumble into protests, unsure if they're watching a cultural movement or dodging tear gas. Nepal's fragile economy, already recovering from COVID, is now burdened with strikes, shutdowns, and investor fear. The government told Gen Z to stay quiet, but forgot. They have megaphones, smartphones, and way too much free time. Now, let's leave the politics for a second and zoom in on what life actually looks like under curfew. Streets empty, bazaars closed, tourism hubs silenced. Youth turn neighborhoods into mini protest zones, even under curfew. TikTok dances swapped for chanting crowds. Some hostels forced guests to stay inside. Trekkers postponed expeditions. Honeymooners swapped Everest for endless Uno games. Small businesses, tea shops, guides, handicraft vendors crushed under no foot traffic curfew days. Right now in Nepal, even street dogs look confused by how quiet it is. And quiet streets mean one thing: no tourists spending money. So how bad is the tourism crash? Pre-pandemic, 1.2 million tourists visited Nepal in 2019. Now, numbers plunging. Irony alert: youth protests scare off tourists, but those same tourists support the economy Gen Z wants fixed. Treks canceled, flights diverted. Everest Base Camp nearly deserted in peak season. Economic ripple: Nepal loses billions. Tourism makes up 8% of GDP. No trekkers equals no tips for guides, no sales for porters, no revenue for lodges. When even Everest is out of reach, you know your tourism industry is on thin air. And airlines aren't happy either. Let's head back to the skies. Airlines forced into emergency rerouting. Costly, confusing, risky. Protest-driven disruptions don't just affect locals, they ground international aviation. Nepal's youth are literally making airlines bleed money. Stranded in India, waiting days to rebook into Kathmandu, airlines consider reducing Nepal routes. Fewer flights, even fewer tourists. Right now, airlines are losing altitude faster than their planes. But let's stop looking at balance sheets. What about the people living this every single day? Students skipping school to protest, vowing they'd rather face tear gas than corruption. A Canadian couple stranded mid-trek, unsure if they'll even get back to Kathmandu for their flight. A shop owner in Tamil crying over a month's worth of stock rotting during curfew. This is more than politics, it's human survival. Punchline: behind every protest chant is a family wondering how they'll pay rent. And that leaves one question: where is Nepal headed next? Social media ban lifted after backlash, but protests rage on. They're not backing down. They're more organized, more connected, and louder than ever. Until stability returns, Nepal risks being scratched off travel bucket lists. If unrest continues, tourism, the country's lifeline, may flatline. Nepal might be home to the world's tallest mountain, but right now, its politics are at rock bottom. So here's where we land. Nepal, a country of unimaginable beauty, now caught in unimaginable unrest. Gen Z is rewriting the script with anime flags and protest songs. Tourists are stranded between flights and curfews, and an economy built on adventure is now standing on shaky ground. The question is, will Nepal's skies clear, or are we just at the beginning of a long storm? If this journey opened your eyes, hit that like button like a landing gear touchdown. Subscribe for more bold documentaries, and let me know in the comments. Would you still travel to Nepal during unrest, or wait for calmer skies? Because sometimes the story of a country isn't just in its mountains. It's in its chaos, its courage, and its fight for tomorrow.